Hi guys, it's me. I'm back to do another video. This is another graphics video because that seems to be what people ask me about the most. And people ask me how I cut out things for manipulations and stuff. And you can do it with GIMP, and I have done it with GIMP, and I can do it with GIMP. But sometimes if I just don't want to spend that much time, I'll admit to cheating horribly by most graphics artist standards and using a website. So, whoops, no, I don't want you to do that. So anyway, I use a site called Clipping Magic. You can find it at clippingmagic.com, all one word, 2 P's in clipping, in case you're wondering. And it says beta up here. It must be a new site. I don't know if they'll ever make you pay for it, but I hope not. It takes a little learning curve, but once you've done it a couple times, it's not hard to do. I'm just going to pick a random picture that's somewhere in the depths of my computer. I have no idea where it might have come from, so you probably shouldn't use it. It's probably not mine, or yours, or anybody else's. Let's see. If the picture you're cutting out is extremely noisy, like there's a lot of color behind the horse, it's going to be a really messy cutout because it's hard for this thing to discern where something ends and the other thing begins, but it shouldn't be horribly difficult to do. This, where is a good picture to cut out? I think I'm just gonna cut out something like, some pictures don't cut out well, especially if they're really small pictures. It'll get blurry when you're trying to cut and you won't be able to tell where it starts and ends. Let's try this one. I don't know how it'll work. It'll upload it to the server. It'll have to upload, connect, and initialize. And it gives you these little instructions here, but I'll just teach you how to do it because the instructions are harder to follow. Basically, it has your picture. This side on the left is the side that you draw on. You can see what your mouse is doing. See the little green dot moving around over there? On the right side. This is where the original is and where you will see your work. Over here is where you will see how it's going to look. Over here, I mean, sorry. I hate that you can't see me pointing at the screen. Okay, so basically, you have to mark the foreground and the background. Foreground is what you're going to keep and what you're cutting out. Background is what you're erasing. You have to remember that. So you don't have to draw all over the horse. Just give it some lines. Use the green to basically mark the horse. You actually probably only have to do that much for the body, but I always want to make sure I don't accidentally erase the horse, so I go overboard and just by George scribble all over the guy. And yeah, so just do this and make sure you get on all the legs. With most things you don't have to go on all the legs, but with horses you probably should because you'd hate to cut his legs off. Not to say that you don't have an undo button, which you do, but just in case. And make sure you can change your brush size from 5 pixel to 40 pixel, 40 being the biggest, 5 being the smallest, of course. And I'm just going to mark all the solid parts of him. Don't mark down here on the tail. We'll get to that part. You'll see how you do that tail. But make sure you get his ears, because otherwise it will cut his ears off. Wouldn't be good. Ear redraws are not something you want to have to do. And I'll just get down here. And then, okay. Now go to the red, which is the part you're erasing. Go to a bigger brush if you want, and just draw. Notice how it immediately removes that much. That is really cool, isn't it? Just keep going around the horse and scribble, and it will start adjusting. And it looks really horrible right now, but just give it some time. And this isn't just like an automatic fix. This does take time to do, and it does take a little bit of practice to get good at. So people will freak out if you tell them that you didn't use GIMP to cut it out. They're like, oh my gosh, you're not a real artist, you're not using GIMP, you have to do it our way or else. But yeah, when I do manips that I cut out this way, I just don't tell anybody because it's not a very receptive audience. But oh, as you can see, it's cut off part of his nose. That's not good. So let's bring it to a 5 pixel brush in green again and just lightly scribble on that. There we go. Now put the red on a 5-pixel brush, and I can start cleaning up around the edges of this guy. That doesn't look right, but I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time making that nose perfect because I'm not even going to use this because it's not mine. Whoops, that was bad. And you'll have trial and error. You'll accidentally whack off his head or something stupid, and you'll have to go back in with your green or with your eraser and fix the poor guy. But yeah, so let's just do a little bit of erasing right about there, and let's get around this tail a little more. Okay, that doesn't look... Whoops, there's a little piece right here. That doesn't look bad. But as you can see his hair, you can still see stuff behind it. And this, what I'm about to do, does not always work. But sometimes you can use the hair tool to get the hair perfect. It depends. There has to be a not very noisy background, and there has to be a big color difference between the hair and whatever's behind it. If the horse is got a brown tail and he's running in the desert, and it would be very hard for this to work because both things would be brown, or at least theoretically both things would be brown. Just click your foreground button and click on the parts of the tail. Just pick a bunch of random different parts of the tail. Make sure you only get the parts of the tail that you're going to want to keep. And I just pick a whole bunch of them to be safe, because the more you pick, the more likely it will be not to chop any of it off. And I think that was part of the background. Okay, now pick background. Background is what you're getting rid of. So what's the tail on? I'm just going to click on this green stuff back here. There's some other stuff this hair's on. Over here. I'm just going to fill it up with different things because I want to make sure I get this. And one more. Okay, now I'm going to come back to my foreground because I just realized I forgot to do the mane completely. And just grab this. Fill it up. Okay. Now, you don't have to fill it up, you just need at least one. Now, click on one of your brushes for, whoops, that's not a very big brush. Brush size up to 10, and just draw on it. And you will notice over here in the results, it puts transparency in between the strands of hair. And it's not really obvious right here, but, whoops, that was not good. Sometimes you'll accidentally erase part of the mane with this, so just bring your hairbrush eraser. This eraser over here doesn't work for hairs. It has to be this eraser. And erase that. There we go. Now go back to your hairbrush thing. Get rid of that. And you can draw over here. Get along the edge and take care of any parts that you wanted to keep that got whacked off earlier. And as you can see, this is not perfect, but I'm not spending a lot of time on this right now. And then you can even do it for, you can do it for any hair. So if you've got hair down here on his legs that's not working for you, cool. Let's just, erase that with our hair thing, and we can get it with our hairbrush. And then you've got yourself one cut horse. So all you have to do is click the download button. It'll open a new window. Click download result. And it will start your download automatically. I don't know about Macs or Apples or anything, but if you have a Windows computer, you will find whatever you just downloaded in your downloads folder. And here it is. And it has the same title as before, but it puts a plus sign in between each word and adds clipped rev 1 on the end. So that's how you know you can find it. So that is how you can clip photos. When you're done, just click that button, and it takes you back to the clipping home page. You can sign up if you want. I haven't yet, but I probably will soon. And as long as you're visiting from the same IP address and you haven't cleared your cookies or browser cache recently, it remembers your last 4 photo uploads, and you can open them again or remove them. So, I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions or problems or anything, feel free to comment. Don't forget to visit my website, thebookofhorse.weebly.com, and horse is H-O-W-R-S-E, by the way, in case you're not a horse player. And happy horsing, guys! See you around!